Karen, mambo? Niko poa, Karen. Detlef, hi from Germany. How are you doing? Thank you guys for joining. If this is your first time, thank you guys for the likes with a lot of love. How are you doing, guys? If this is your first time, consider subscribing, guys. How are you doing, guys? I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, Karen. My day has been good. I'm really appreciative about it. It has been tough, but on the other side, it has been good. So I can't complain. Karen. What about yours and everyone else? How has your day been like? Mine has been a little bit tough, but I'm still okay. I'm still okay, guys. Karen and everyone else, how are you doing, guys? Let me see who have subscribed. As I said, our today's topic, guys. Here we go. Let's get the poll rolling. As we have our today's topic. Detlef, how is Germany? Thank you, guys. How are you?
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Yes. Tell me, young man.
I have it.
All the way from
Kenya.
Burundi.
No, I'm now a Kenyan.
Thank you guys for the like. You have some coffee?
Yes. Yes, I do. Which cup do you prefer? Big or
the big one?
Yeah.
The big one I can't finish.
You can finish.
Just give me the small one. I'm going to appreciate.
put you away, Mom? Hmm?
Mm-mm.
No.
I feel some kind of heartburn, so I am not going to take that.
Come on.
So guys, there we go in our topic. Let me just pin it there so that we cannot see it. Pin, I have pinned it. Are we lacking empathy in our social space? That's our question today. And that's how the evidence says. No, we don't have empathy. Thank you for voting. Thank you for voting, guys. Yeah, you can give me one.
One.
Yes.
Or two.
No, just one. Empathy is never there. Yes, Karen, very true. Everyone, I have seen a lot of people trolling each other, over the social media. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
Like I saw a certain story which is trending. One of the pastors, I know you know him, and his former wife just got a chance to have an interview, and I think she disclosed a lot of information about how their relationship was. And all I have seen now after that interview is all about this one trolling the other one, the other one. Yes, that story. See, I have seen people trying to troll each other. There are those that are the pro pastor, and there are those that are the pro, that lady. It's all about trolling. Yes, yes, you have their names. I don't want to mention their names, but very true. I have seen, people don't have empathy. You know, I think our level of empathy is decreasing each and every day as we increase our social media presence. I think I think that's at the point where we are. That's another one. That's another one. I have also seen the other guy that we just lost the other day. There was another guy who had previously assisted him, but now that guy is also being trolled. The social media is all about, yeah, that song, he has also been trolled a lot because of that song. Yeah. You see, now the social media space is all about trolling. So if you look from this side, maybe you did your best, but people are trolling you. On the other side, there are those that are really studying with you and saying you did the right thing. On the other side, others are saying you did this because you really wanted some money. You see all those stories. It's all about trolling each other. You know, people don't want to put themselves in the shoes of those that they are trolling. That's now the thing. That thing is very, very tricky. Hmm? Yeah, when I check the entire, when I check the entire environment on how everything is going on, I have seen that, we live in a world whereby being trolled is a very, very, it's a kind of maybe we are having a mental issue in terms of trolling others. But they should put more sugar in their tea so that they can enjoy the trolling more. Yeah, of course, I agree. There are those that are doing what we call the showbiz. The showbiz? The more I trend, the more maybe my content and my stuff is going to go up. But you see, on the other hand, what about at the personal level? Imagine you are trolling me and I have my kids, I have my family, and they can see all these messages via the social media. How are they going to take that in the future? That's now the thing. Hmm? Like I saw that song, Karen, that you talked about, and the messages that were there. You could even see some people trying to associate the artist with his entire family. Yeah, chasing crowd every time. But on the other hand, I don't think it's a healthy thing. I think we are we are what can I say? No, we are misrepresenting some of these things that we are overdoing. That's now the thing. Because on the other hand, we should also think about the other parties. The third party. Not even the message, the video vixen. Yeah, 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 yeah. See now, once you are trolled at that level, uh, and you are also human and you have some feelings, you know, uh, I think it's a lack of empathy. On the other hand, some of these people, they are feeding us with some content as a way of cloud chasing. That's now the thing, you know. Most of them have crowd chased for so long, to an extent. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the parents are gone. You know, they are gone. They are long gone. Yeah, they died a long time ago. I think so. But you see now the entire thing. He has a family. What about the family? You know, and you see when I have the negative publicity, it is the same thing that is also going to be associated with my family. The same thing happens, especially when maybe a politician does some fishy thing. Their families have what we may call the low esteem because of that trolling. Yeah, yeah. You see now, yeah. I get your point. Yeah, the vixen, the family. The brothers. If she has some brothers, some sisters, and imagine you are being trolled. Yeah, uh, you're already being trolled by people who are disconstructing you mercilessly. They don't even want to care how you are going to feel. I think that's why most of these people probably what fall into what we may call the depression, because I think our level of empathy is really really wanting, you know, really really wanting. You see now they are saying like the level of empathy also tends to vary from one person to another. You know, but there are those totally who have no level of empathy. That's now the thing. Yeah, I cannot also imagine I'm your father and maybe you are being linked. You are my daughter and maybe you are dancing for such type of a song. As a parent, I'm also going to feel very, very imbalanced. That's the thing. And now we live in a world whereby the social media has really, really tried to bring us together, even in terms of our families. And anytime I'm being trolled, even my father or my mother or my son or my daughter or my wife or my brother or sister, can really see what is really happening on the social media, you know. And they always keep on calling you. You are trading somewhere. Can you go and check on that story? You can really fall into what we may call depression. So our level of empathy, I think, in as much as it is fluctuating, I think it's also really wanting. That's one of the key things that we should understand. This is a research that was done, and it showed that the level of empathy, decreased by 4%. For those students that schooled maybe in different institutions in 1990s, 1980s, 1990s, their level of empathy was a little bit higher compared now with those that maybe schooled after 2000. And those are the Gen Zs. Those are people that are really deconstructing you, and then at the end of the day, to them that's not an issue. You see. So this is a research that has really confirmed that the level of empathy was a little bit higher, especially for those guys that went to school maybe in the 80s and 90s. But for 2000 and above, the Gen Zs, those are the Gen Zs, up now to the current generation. Wow, their level of empathy have really decreased. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe probably they are coming to a world which is always being inhabited with a lot of issues and with a lot of problems. I think that might have contributed a lot, but let us see. So that one is also very instrumental. The same research is saying that the overuse of the social media also have indicated that among most of our adults, our level of empathy is decreasing, and instead of enhancing on it, we are more of narcissists. That's the thing. As we keep on using social media each and every day, the more we use it, the more our empathy level becomes very low. And on the other hand, what really happens is that we tend to develop, the act of being as a narcissist. And guys, narcissists, they are very weird people. People, people that can really troll you, even if you are on your deathbed, yeah, even if you are dying in the next minute, narcissists will still follow you with a lot of bitterness, with a lot of bitter questions, with a lot of bitter issues, until you go and you meet your maker. That's what we are really practicing today. So as we keep on increasing our social media presence, our empathy level are decreasing, and on the other hand, our narcissistic form of tendencies are really increasing. That's the thing. The other issue is all about the cultural values. This one, I think we have really embraced it, even as the Africans, because we all live in what I may call, the world of tech, the world of technology, this is where the level of individualism, people really want to do their things on their own, and we have come to a status whereby if I achieve, that one is my personal achievement. It is not your achievement. You know, if I achieve, that's my personal achievement. It's not your achievement. And in the process, I become more individualistic. And you know, the moment I become more individualistic, of course, my ego will always be my first priority. So I'll never care about others as long as I'm more individualistic. I'm more concerned about my issue, like what I was telling Karen here. Each and every day, you know, people have become so greed. You know, they just want their name to keep on trading each and every day. You know, that's the essence of being individualistic. You know, you really want you really want your name to be always there on the top, and in the process you are just focusing on your personal achievements. And if you see others, maybe they are really coming into the industry and whatever, maybe you might even do something to ensure that they are not going to come even to your position. And the same thing is really happening in our African politics. This is where you always realize that there are those guys, you know, that maybe joined politics long time ago, and anytime maybe they see a young person who might be having a better dream, a better change, maybe a better leadership skill and traits, they don't really want you to get into that space whereby maybe your influence can overtake their influence, and you know, in the process you might be eliminated. You know, and that's how our African politics has been. Anytime any young person or anyone who might act as a change agent is seen, maybe this one can become a better, you know, version maybe of something of leadership or something of sort, then the easiest way is just to eliminate that person. Similarly, in the showbiz, this is the same thing. There are those artists that they really want to be just to be there, you know, even if they don't release some songs, they do some crazy things, you know, those crazy things, so that they keep on trading each and every day, and in the process they become very individualistic with a lot of ego. And that's the reason why maybe you can see them maybe coming up with funny projects, you know. Yeah, projects that maybe they are projecting on nudity, maybe projects that are really projecting maybe on issues of, you know, matters of maybe sex and something of such, because they are really focusing on on themselves, and they don't even care how maybe their content might be taken by the holistic kind of a society. So I think that's where we are, and this is the biggest threat that we are having as Africans. Even in your family setting, anytime maybe you are the only person, you know, who has the potential to go to another level, you know, and maybe through God's grace, maybe He has taken you to a certain point. Anytime you see someone else rising, you know, you must do something as a way of trying to suppress them, and as a way of and as a way of ensuring that they are under maybe your leadership or something, maybe under your command, you know, which is something that is very it's an element of ego, which is very bad in terms of how we are running our society. So I think that one is also very critical, you know, because it really touch us across the spectrum. Corinne, how are you doing today? You know, it really touches across the spectrum, be it in schools, be it in of kind of an environment. I believe that environment is really messing up in how even we are perceiving some of these key issues that we are really facing in our society. Corinne, bonjour. Corinne, how is Italy? How is Italy? How is Italy? I'm trying to translate. Yeah, I'm trying to translate here. So that element of individualistic, I think it's more of our norm as Africans today. Another thing that is really making our, our element of ego maybe to decrease uh, is most of us, we are really becoming so sensational. We are so sensational, and we are really desensitized in ensuring that we are really consuming a lot of information via the social media, and we don't want to really put some critical thinking about this information that we are really getting from the social media. And the process, because of that, that's just across, just the way I really want to put them across. And in the process of putting my words just the way I want to put them, you might find that in the process that someone might be hurt because of your comment. So in terms of that, we are not really putting some effort, to have some kind of emotional attachment and just try to analyze maybe a situation that person might be undergoing through. And in the process, our empathy level also decreases, And one thing about the social media, like yesterday, was having my good friend Mr. Peter, who was a little bit more confused, because of the content that TikTok nowadays is really suggesting he should be consuming. You know, you just find that because people are so the because people are so much focused on maybe utilizing a certain segment or certain information. TikTok always suggests that information, the highly used information. If it's about maybe the issue, let's say for instance, a certain song which is trending, TikTok or maybe some of these applications, they are going to filter, they are going to filter and they are going to give you that information. And so in the process, you might just be wondering, why am I being given a lot of negative information today? And maybe you are used to certain information, like maybe you really love about a certain, you follow a certain trend, maybe about fashion or something of such. But in the process, instead of them giving you the fashion thing, they are really giving you another different thing. So in the process, they are also, the social media applications, they can really sense how sensational we are with some of these content, and that is the kind of content that they really want us to highly consume. That element of desensitization is always there. So that's how things are operating, guys. So that element of sensational and being desensitized, I think it's highly there, and it's really causing havoc uh, in terms of how we take the social media. Yeah, this is what I have just said. We also have, the way the entire social media has been set in terms of these algorithms. Yeah, being able to personalize some of the information that maybe we should be able to access. And in the process of personalization, these personalizing the information or the content that we should be getting, we just find ourselves mired, you know, in some content that maybe even probably we never wanted to access, you know. Like those trading stories, I think since it was the trading thing, social media had a way of ensuring that we almost everyone access those funny stories, you know. So the social media is always also having that kind of an algorithm that is really making us to get limited rather than getting maybe diverse kind of information, uh, which may be very instrumental in enabling. So the varying effect of social media, this is where you always find that there are some cultures, or there are some communities, or there are some culture that are very sensitive when they talk about the issue of maybe empathy. Yes. Yeah, was just having a talk with someone. So as I was saying, each and every culture or each and every community have a different way in which they express the aspect of empathy, you know. But there are some cultures that they are very, very volatile when they come to the aspect of empathy, you know. But for other cultures, people grew in a very different way. You know, there are some families that maybe they were very, very violent. And you know, in the process of maybe being, being part and parcel of a family that was violent, your essence of empathy, it's really, really eliminated. You know, in the process of maybe that person growing up. And you know, when that element is being eliminated, then at the end of the day, you know, anytime you meet maybe with your rival, or maybe you meet with someone that you really don't love, or you don't, you know, that you don't like, at the end of the day you must make some nasty kind of comments, you know. But there are those that really grew in an environment where the moment, if you really grew from family setting, then it becomes very easy even to get along with others. However, some of us, like the Gen Zs, you know, like the Gen Zs growing up, you know, most of them, they have really come up, or they have really when life was relatively more better, you know. Some of us, like the millennials, I always say that we really used to have what we may call a lot of challenges in life. You know, most of us, we never even went to school with some shoes. You know, most of us. Let me just give someone a key.
What? Kaya kanini mo ilo kanini? Kihorme, ilo na huli da.
So empathy also depends on how the family setting, the society, the community that one grew in. And I was saying, like, for most of the millennials, wow, they really faced a lot of issues growing up, you know. They really faced a lot of issues growing up. You'd always find that most of them, uh, anytime they couldn't, attend their duties, they were always disciplined. But for the next generation, now the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, they have really come up when things were a little bit more better, you know, when issues were really, really not too tough, when issues would really, really, uh, would, you know, when issues were more better in terms of their family settings. And in the process, most of them never learned the element of empathy, you know, because you only learn the element of empathy when maybe you used to skip, you know, some lunch, you know, when maybe you are used to be caned whenever maybe you wronged someone. But now when the Gen Zs came, most of our laws or most of our national guidelines, they had really changed in terms of how teachers should be disciplining their kids, their pupils, or their students, and in the process, the entire framework about the discipline really changed. And in the process of changing how discipline was, empathy was also in the process killed. And the process of killing empathy is very dangerous in such a way that today, even if someone, even if let's say someone is having some very critical issues that need to be addressed, because we don't have empathy and we have never learned on how maybe to appreciate that empathy, we don't even care about them. And this one, I think it's the thing that we are really experiencing when we talk about the social relationships that we are really experiencing today. The other thing, which is very encouraging, and which also shows that empathy is there, we might say that empathy is still present, but is very selective. That's a thing, you know. There are those that even today they have really have the heart, of understanding people, how they are operating, their issues. But on the other side, you just find that, even if we are trying to have some element or some essence of empathy, it's really become of selective empathy. Then we are always going to have a deficit on how we apply some of the social key issues that we are dealing with at the personal level, because empathy, I believe, should be applied across the spectrum, you know. When we are really, if we really want to tackle some of the key issues that our people are facing, then empathy should not be selective, but it should be uh, it should be applied in a very diverse way. So when empathy is lacking, we always experience some impact. And the first impact that we always experience when we don't have empathy is what we may call the social polarization. This is where most people, tend to fail to understand, you know, the viewpoint of the opponent, you know. And in the process of not understanding and appreciating, the viewpoint of the other person, then at the end of the day, it really becomes an issue. At the end of the day, that one generates a lot of issues. So there is when empathy is decreasing, then social polarization is increasing. And in the process of experiencing social polarization, then we don't give space for dialogue and as well as for cooperation. And the moment we don't give space for dialogue, I think we are headed in the long way, because each and every time we are going to have some conflicts, and if we keep on piling, those conflicts, then we are going to reach at a point whereby now things will be very tricky to handle.
Frank dokita ha.
Mm-hmm.
Dukia gacha ndawaka mwasi.
Mm-hmm. Sawa sawa. So social polarization is always decreasing as a result, it's always decreasing as a result of decreased empathy. So social polarization is increasing as a result of decreased social empathy. Then we have what we may call the weakened social fabric. You know, when we really talk about the weakened social fabric, this is where we are always saying that since now our empathy may be decreased, the element of social cohesion, us coming up together, uh, the element of us maybe engaging in different initiatives in our community, they really become so fragmented, you know, in such a way that we, even if we tend to talk in one language, at the end of the day, since we don't have the basis for trust, since we don't have the basis for social cohesion, then it really becomes hard for us to attain our collective goal. So there is that element of weakened, social fabric, and I think this is what we are really experiencing, as uh, especially when we are really talking about some of the key issues that even our leaders should be handling, because we empathy is gone, and in terms of social cooperation and cohesion and having the same vision is no longer there. Then for us to have what we may call productive dialogue, it really becomes a very complex thing. The other issue is all about the weakened, inequality system. This is where you'll find, since we don't have empathy, we always experience what we may call systematic inequalities. This is where maybe those in power will always feel that they are even more privileged, you know, than those that maybe they are not in power. You know, the same thing happens economically. You just find it's just a certain fraction, maybe within our society, that is highly empowered, but the other fraction, the other fraction, uh, the other fraction is very poor, in such a way that it's not able to have what we may call a corrective mind, for them maybe to just advocate for a certain way or for a certain cause of change. So, and in the process, we now create what we call the marginalization. That's the reason why you always feel, that's the reason why you always see politicians, because they know there is no element of empathy, even between the poor people. They always now use that element for them to lie on their issues, you know and they always know that since even the poor person, they cannot even talk on one language, then it really becomes easier for them, to tend always to separate them, maybe on basis of their color, on basis maybe of their tribe, or maybe basis of their issues. And when now they are able to separate, the bigger fraction, a very disadvantaging thing, the thing that does not really want to, really want the society to move on. Communication breakdown is also very evident, especially when we talk about the lack or the decrement of empathy. Communication is not always there. There are a lot of misunderstanding. The intentions and feelings of others really becomes very common, and we always create, environment where maybe we create what we call a strained relationship. And when we have the strained relationship, then we are always headed to creating conflict. And in the process of creating conflict, we don't in the process of creating conflict, then there is nothing that we can solve even at the social level. So that one is very, very, very evident in our society today. And communication breakdown, I can really say it's really happening maybe in the showbiz, you know, with with a lot of with a lot of showbiz that are really happening today, tending to give very, very different information, about the same thing. And because they don't have that common kind of a common stand or a common view, and then they really, really spark what we may call maybe some feelings and intentions. And in the process, you know, it is also that media that really creates what we call the strained relationship. And the strained relationship, they can be very, very bad in such a way that that source is talking about the same issue in a different fashion, this one the same, this one a different one, the other one a different one, and they are still talking the same issue. And in the process, conflict must be there, because this one is saying this one is saying that. For instance, there is a very, very information, a very, very clear information, going through the social media about maybe a certain politician, maybe how they are doing, maybe others are saying this and that and that and that. And in the process, it really creates what we may call the friction, the conflict, the social friction. And in the process of creating the social friction, it's all about strained relationship. Finally, there is also what we call the lies in online bullying. I think that's where now we are. This is where now internet, the internet has become a platform, that has been aggressively used for dehumanizing behavior and increasing aggression. We have become so callous in such a way that we don't have feelings for others, and we can really show our true persons via the social media. That's where we are today. And in the process, we become so aggressive in such a way that we don't even want to understand others people point of view. And in the process, even if they are talking the truth, we always see as if they are talking, as if they are concealing information, and as if they are always talking lies. That's the point where we are. But I hope, I hope now we can see the essence and the need for us, maybe to have the element of creating what we may call, empathy. Because empathy in this modern age is very, very critical. Very, very critical. And with empathy, we are able to move on as a team, and with empathy, we are able to ensure that everything is created in a very, very good way. Empathy, we are able to ensure we are able to ensure that we create an enabling environment not only for ourselves. We move from that individualistic form of view to a diverse view, where maybe we can be able to have the feelings and the common consensus about the issues of others, which is very, very, very critical. So therefore, guys, it's always very fine and very important for us to appreciate in this age, where we are really, consuming a lot of we are consuming a lot of information via the internet. There is need for us to embrace empathy, and the easiest way to embrace empathy, uh, it's always having the goodwill, for us just to generate it and for us to exercise it, because the more we exercise empathy, the more we are in a better position of ensuring that we create a very, very good environment for everyone, and an environment that is very, very critical, to always understand each and every party as we keep on expanding on our social interaction, through various social media platforms. So guys, that was my view today. It was all about how, how our empathy is decreasing each and every day, and I believe that, that with empathy we are able even to move, collectively as a community, as well as even a country, as well as a global village. So guys, I think I'm going to end there. Thank you for always joining. Thank you for always your love and support. I always say that I don't take it for granted, but I always take it with a lot of gratitude, and with a lot of, positivity. So let's keep on practicing empathy, for us to create a better living place for all.